Life is going to sub in, and you may say, oh, well, Peter was playing fine. I don't think it has anything to do with the way Peter has played. I think they just want someone like Life to get in there to kind of change the vibe in the comms, because as our deskers were talking about, it really just feels like they're totally unsynced, like they're just playing all individually. It doesn't look like a pro team right now, so they need someone to kind of get them together and clean things up.
There was a team last year, similar tri-code actually, just one letter different.
Yeah.
And the same shot calling problems that plagued them throughout the entire year.
Is that Gnomeship?
No.
Because it's just one letter different.
Yeah, no, you were very close, but it was actually DNF.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Gnomeship had their own shot calling problems, but a little bit less. They were a legend team.
They were, yeah.
Well, let's see what they do with first pick this time, because I think you and I walked out, I'll say I walked out of that draft feeling there were a lot of great tools, but the early game was such a disaster that the draft didn't work out. They went for the Talia over the Rise. The desk point out some of the issues and some of the holes in the draft that led to the lane prio, that led to a snowball. And hopefully they won't make those same mistakes this time around, or at least we'll be able to play through some of the weaknesses a little bit more efficiently, as they were not able to press R together this time, nor were they, unfortunately, in game one at the right times.
Or
Karma taken away.
Or their W's.
Yeah, I mean, they need to work on their macro, their micro.
Yeah.
The Karma here is a pretty interesting early ban without showing what their lane is going to be to take the Nico, so that was left open since they banned the Varus, which I think does make sense. So that lines with the Karma ban. We want to have lane prio, we want to have lane dominance. Duck Dom and Life going to play through this instead of Peter.
Maybe they're threatening, like, if you don't ban Varus, we banned Karma, so we're going to first pick Varus, and then you can't just pick Ezreal Karma to, you know, have that strong lane for Diablo and Kellen. But it
is somewhat ironic, though, Valdez, that one of Peter's best champs on his road to a Worlds Finals was the Nico, and Life is going to be playing it in this case.
Yeah.
Aurora feels very strong, blind, deep, and fearless, because there's very few matchups she loses, and she is flexible across two roles. I really like this pick here for B&K. It reveals nothing. And this time, they'll get their hands on the Ezreal early before it can be banned in the second phase.
Yeah, and the thing about this is, you know, the Karma also very good into the Nico, something we should mention, so they banned that away, looking for that first pick Nico. But Ezreal can go with a lot of different things.
Please, no Kai'Sa here. I don't think this team could pull it off right now.
How about Cassante?
That's a different K champion that I think is great for Dudu. It was even banned in the first phase against him.
Oh no! Wolf!
We already knew. In Korea, if you have a ranged support, you think you can get through the laning phase. If Ezreal's on the other side, you have to lock Kai'Sa. That's the rules. It's actually rule 14.1.3. Just sorry, it took a second to check it.
So your issue with this is that you don't believe that DNS can actually play around the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, well,
like the lane itself.
Like when we unfortunately saw some big whiffs of ultimates that needed to be used in tandem that were much easier to execute. Trying to play a dive composition with this Kai'Sa with a Nico setup just sounds like it's too complex. And I hate to say that, but it has always been a staple of Rise Group to talk about the ease of execution of compositions. I thought in Game 1 and Game 2 they had absolutely that, and yet the execution still came up a little bit lacking. As the Sylas ban says, ban Alistar, and they will comply.
Yes, they do agree to the handshake, just like Walks did there on the space. And what else are we going to see banned here? Maybe things that can do well into the Aurora.
Like, what is the plan here for DNS for more dive? Like Yone for closer? I'm really...
Kali? Zoe?
Zoe... It would have been more pick opportunities. They still want to deal with it. I think that's fair. Especially with the Aurora now being revealed to be the mid laner. Can be one of the matchups that you can actually beat the Aurora in, as we've seen. So that makes sense. The Leona is one of the most common into the Kai'Sa. The Alistar, you know, taken away here would have been one of the better options into the Nico, and So that one is taken away as well. See what the answer will be. Rel, ultimately, they go for here. Some decent setup with the Aurora and the Gnar. Gnarbar, a little bit situational, a little bit trickier to play out. It's been a while since Gnar has been meta here. So, see how well Clear plays it. Ghost Syndra, all right. That's how we're going to play this one out. Single pick.
Yeah, we're running out of mid laners, Wolves.
I told you in game 2 it's going to be played in game 3, so...
You did say that. Ghost Syndra comes through, and Lee Sin for Pyoshik.
Now, this is a Pyoshik classic. Not quite as classic as the Hecarim we saw the other day, but...
Yeah.
This is a comfort draft, if I've ever seen one, for the side of the DN Supers. Like, tell me there's not one player on this roster that does not love to play the champion they're playing. And then also tell me how this comp is ever going to work, Valdez. Oh, a Malphite being hovered here. All right, it will be Aatrox, which makes a lot more sense to me. Who do you hit to set up the chain to look for a single pick? Odin, I'm looking at you right now. You have 5 seconds to answer. Is it A, the Ezreal who's super far away, has Arcane Shift? Is it the frontlining Aatrox that has a ton of lifesteal and will probably be able to live through almost anything? Is it the Gnar that's got Mega? No, the answer is it's the Rel, and you hope she misses her engage. You kill her first and then win the follow-up. Of the 3 drafts we saw from the Supers, this one is the one that raises my ire. This is the one I do not trust. This is the one I am worried about. They have the counterpick Gnar into the Cassante as well.
So you mentioned it before, it's a lot of comfort, and maybe that's all they need. Maybe they threw everything else out in terms of draft bucks. They're like, yeah, whatever, we don't need a real composition, we don't, you know, blah, 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 blah. Just play whatever you want, what you think you're gonna be good at, and maybe we can win that way. And certainly it does have some vibes like that. Whereas over here, I mean, it's a 3-carry composition, all very high tier.
How did they get a super meta S-tier comp in game 3 and you got this?
Well, I don't know. You can see it there at the bottom. Either way, guys, game number 3, B&K up against DN Supers. Let's jump into the game. Alrighty, game number 3 on the cards. And DNS, really the onus is on them to show us something. Because B&K, it almost looks like they're just having fun, like they're limit testing. They're going crazy. They're doing all sorts of over-aggressive stuff. And they're still winning. And they're kind of...
Valdez? What? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I couldn't help but notice Closer didn't take Ghost.
Wow. Why?
Because he knows that in side lanes, he's not safe and needs to be able to TP into team fights. And despite the fact that Ghost gives Syndra the ability to set up her combos, be aggressive well, and it gives her a little bit of safety, a little bit, Teleport is the correct summoner. Wow, he's a knower. Also, Vikla took Teleport as well.
Yes, he did. He's got the Electrocute. I would assume, especially early on, Vikla can have a fun time in this lane. I say that he's not taking the best trades vault. It's fine.
It's pretty volatile because if you hit every orb, you do end up doing more damage. As the Electrocute is the trade pattern Vikla is looking for. Closer just wants to hit every Q and stack every area in on cooldown as much as possible. So here we go.
Life in a lot of trouble. He has to flash away that auto, having insane range, it felt like, but it still lands. And they get the heal, they get the flash. Kellen uses his, but life doesn't exist anymore in this lane, so they're going to take that.
The cool thing about playing Kai'Sa with a range support is that you get to utilize the range support's poke and ability to build distance to get through the lane a little bit more freely. It kind of shores up a lot of the weaknesses. However, if you're in rel engage range, it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Nobody dies, and Duckdom's healthy enough to stay in the lane. This could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Kellen went back, because if he stays, I think there's no way that Duckdom can approach the wave, and it was pushing into Diablo. So, like, yeah, he went back, he did, like, the very common thing we see from supports, where you get the refillable, you get the control ward, but now Duck Dom's kind of like, okay, you almost killed my support, but whatever. Whereas I feel like it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
And they could have punished hard, but instead they wanted that very nice back, which they did get, but I don't know. I don't think I would have gone for that. As now Pyosik potentially in a little bit of trouble. He is Lee Sin, although he does get knocked back. There is the flash away and the dash over to Closer. So he will be okay, but he does have to burn his flash for it.
Yeah, with Raptor there, Pyosik never going to press Q a second time on that Aurora. Ends up being fine, but loses his flash. So how fine is he really? Closer really wants to make something of this. Kellen is just going to assist him in clearing this whole wave. The biggest winner on the side of DNS for all of these shenanigans is still Duck Dom, who is actually totally fine in the bottom lane with this huge roam up from Kellen. And what looked like it might have been a disaster is actually going to be a very stable Kai'Sa here. Surely not going to get caught by the Rel rotation in.
Surely not.
Surely not. I say these things because, you know, we have seen more than a few unusual circumstances in this best of 5 already.
Yeah, I think especially when one team is struggling, you just don't want to see them, you know, dig the hole even deeper. And you kind of just hope that they play like a decent game. Even if they end up losing, you don't want to see them fall flat on their face like we have seen in a couple of games already.
That's why this draft here makes me feel frustrated, Valdez. And it's not that this draft is unwinnable, and I think it does have some strong pick opportunities later on in the game.
Yeah.
But, you know, if this is your game 3 draft, what's your game 5 draft? You know, you gotta always think you're gonna win his life. No sums.
Yeah, he doesn't have sums, he doesn't have cooldowns, he's just dead. And now, Duck Dom is all alone. Diablo a little bit low himself. Gonna miss another Q. Not the cleanest trading, and now a barrier comes through. The Flash W is not gonna land! And that's the end of that, as Pyosik wants to punish Diablo, and that he will. But not before his entire bot lane just dies.
At least he's able to take the 80 carry off the map. That's the most important part. If that's another, you know, set of pushing minions into the turret, going to be disastrous. Wouldn't have been able to do it with Pyosik there. Pyosik also gets the kill. Kellen's going to hold the wave to make this even more annoying, as there are now no summoners whatsoever on the bottom side. Duck Dom, I think, thought his passive proc was going to be enough there to actually do the damage fast enough, but he was mistaken.
Well, maybe if he hit the W.
Yeah, the W did not hit
to, wouldn't have needed too much calculating at all. But yeah, it just kind of feels like nothing is going right for DNS.
It's not the end of the world here, but
sure,
it's just these small things that...
It's just the vibe, you know?
It's, yeah, the tempo vibes are not theirs.
Yeah.
As again, the Nico is in Rel engage range. You've got to keep the Rel at arm's length as best as you can. It is tricky, obviously, into an Ezreal. As I'll say that passive proc flashes for it, misses the W, and is dead.
Yeah, and he's like, please help!
Unlucky.
Like, he also said, please save me. And he said, jungle diff. That's what Kellen said. We're right back into a fight as Raptor's dead.
Jungle diff.
Big time jungle diff so far. If this is solo queue, your jungler's getting spammed with all sorts of pings and other stuff. But, yeah, Raptor not in the best spot. Is now ult here on a Mininar. Clear does not have his flash, as he does dodge a decent amount, but it's not quite enough damage to come through. Now Kellen getting pretty low himself, and he's like, no, I'm going to clear this ward anyway. Does not care.
Man, Diablo and Kellen look like they are having such a great time. Not in Kellen's health bar right now, but just in general, about how they're so nonchalant with this very important best of 5 for their group.
Just ulting on top of Diablo here is Duck Dom. The burst is there, and he doesn't have any way to respond, so Duck Dom sits him down.
That is why it is in the unofficial LCK rulebook that you have to pick Kai'Sa into Ezreal.
That's part of it, yeah.
And, you know, if Ezreal gets isolated and you have your ult, you can burst him. You just get right on top of him. And that did happen. This game is starting off very weird, Valdez. Maybe the handshakers on the space might be feeling a little clammy right now, as Raptor does also just get in here and get caught. There still is a lot of single target pick in this comp, including Kai'Sa. Go, 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 go. Hits the burst.
Got him.
Until Duckdom is super locked in, he's got the exact opposite of the kind of attitude of Diablo and Kellen right now.
Yeah, Duckdom did say prior to this series that he's fine playing with both supports. He's played with both supports, has synergy with both. And so, you know, whoever gets picked, he's fine to play with them. And you can kind of tell he's doing his own thing. Nice little engage from Kellen, but now Pyosik level 7 has his Raptor, but he is much scarier here on the Lee Sin. And Kellen, okay, the Q is going to miss, so Life does have to take the kill. But now the nice kick to push Raptor back.
Pyosik
That they should be okay.
does have his flash, and also he's Lee Sin, so I don't think there's really any chase here. If Raptor takes too much damage trying to force this, it might affect their Dragon take, as we do see the TP from Kellen. It's straight back over. And they should be able to maintain prio for this. Closer is known for his Syndra, even though we haven't seen it as much.
Oh, actually ulting on top of Closer here. That's a lot of bursts already. Going to lock him down and essentially just trying to get the flash out and also do a nice amount of burst damage. We'll see if they eventually do go for that Dragon, which feels like it could be pretty nice, but there's still TP, and with home guards, with Lee Sin, it can be a little bit tricky, so...
Lee Sin with Sundered Sky.
Yeah, not going to go for it. Probably the right call.
I do think that with the teleport back in, there's an angle here for... Oh,
okay.
there's definitely an angle for a Dragon here for DNS now.
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, Duckdom is... You can tell he's trying to punish as hard as possible, but now Life is... He's not in the best spot. Might have to flash himself, and there he goes. As he was just trying to clear a ward, thought he was okay, but Raptor was there. And once again, Dudu getting aggressive. Dusante trying to make his presence felt. The boomerang will not be caught, but Meganar is on the way. As Dudu goes back in. Nice trade from him.
Really well played from Dudu here. Actually should be fine. They are going to take the Dragon. You can see Pyosik on it right now as his ult comes back up. Despite some really scary moments there, with Life having to flash, do maintain enough control to take the Dragon away. For the first Dragon for DNS this series, whereas BNK have otherwise completely dominated the early games. Now they're 1,200 gold behind.
I think DNS got one last game.
Yeah, but they didn't get the first Dragon.
No, not the first.
In either game.
Not the first.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you were saying.
So, best early game so far.
Yeah.
Comfort working out.
Still stands.
I don't know if I want to say Life looks comfortable on this Nico pick today thus far, but...
Well, yeah.
Did secure that last kill.
Maybe his engages are going to be really good.
Yeah.
Maybe just the laning phase. He's like still getting... He had to like come in mid-series. He's a little bit rusty, perhaps.
I'll never forget.
I'm looking for excuses here.
I'll never forget that 2-month period where Life played only set every game. And went for the same flash face breaker.
Yep, level 1. Without fail. But thankfully we're not doing that anymore.
I don't know, it was kind of fun. He was the only one doing it. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was
now
cool.
He can't because of Fearless.
Yeah. Remember when set was so meta that it was Life was just like, I'll take it away.
Yeah.
And play it support.
Might as well. If it's also flexible for your team, should make use of that.
They are going to get these grubs. It looks like here Pyosik still has his smite, and all right.
Yeah, trying to look for a little bit more as Between Worlds does come through. Vikla is doing quite a lot, has the belt as well to get on top of Closer. Gets pulled back, and now Raptor with the reset, but they don't have the top laner as Dudu's going to get in onto Raptor, but still kiting this out very well is Vikla and Raptor, although Pyosik will get in onto this Aatrox, and Dusante looks to be totally fine for now. Finally Clear does come down. And might be able to help out here with the hop on top of his own teammate's head, as that's the kill on the Pyosik, and Vikla still on the run, and it looks like he does Garrett away just barely.
Yeah, Dudu, no flash, not able to do anything there. Unfortunately, it just takes too long to kill that Aatrox, who went Shojin, by the way, and not the Sundered Sky, so a bit of a variation. Still was difficult to kill him. And he was hitting a lot of abilities in that last fight. As you can see, this is the early shove from Closer, so doesn't really have any escapes, doesn't have his flash from the earlier play. So I really like this call here from BNK. And because, you know, yes, Dudu comes over here and he is a Cassante with all out, because the Gnar is going to be able to join, doesn't matter his life.
Fight in live, and Life is no longer alive, and now Duckdom in a bit of trouble. He at least is going to dodge a lot of stuff, and he does have his summoner still, but that is yet another kill onto Life here.
Well, a bit of a turnaround in the gold as BNK, what these exchanges do, pull it back to almost dead even again. The belt Aurora is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like what he's doing with it. Can set up the between worlds at a spot that you thought you were spacing to where you were safe, especially this immobile Syndra. Nice try.
Yeah, gonna be smited down by Pioshik at like 96, but still ends up working out. And yeah, the Proto Belt on the Aurora just makes you so incredibly mobile. It's already difficult to lock down on Aurora, but if you have even more mobility, seems pretty good. So Life just kind of gets caught here.
He really likes to stand near the rel this game. Kellen is reminding him that you don't win by default. Obviously, Raptor is here. Dom does have his ult, can use it to get out of dodge with a dodge. And he has 6 more stacks of coal to complete before he can end up getting a big burst of money. Does find himself the only gold leader in the game with those 2 kills on the Ezreal earlier on. See if this Kai'Sa works out.
Talbot's actually weaving in the cues between the minions very well on the Dom.
Something I really feel like this is Diablo's like insane skill ceiling champion, even though we saw some misses earlier on.
I mean, Ezreal is one of those champs that you don't like to see it in the hands of every single AD carry, and only a few really kind of had their Ezreal license, if you will. And yeah, it does feel like Diablo has absolutely earned that. Just have to see him play it even more. And so far, obviously, the laning phase was not the cleanest as he got killed multiple times by the bottom lane of DNS, but still, you know, you can lose lane and still have a big impact in the game. We'll have to wait and see. Vikla is getting pretty low, and the stun does not land, so he just gets out and back in. A little shake on, or a little scratch on the back of his head there. Probably not on purpose.
Little Pac-Man. Happens to everybody. Somebody has the joystick is a little dirty, a little sticky. Go back across one more time. Raptor is in the vicinity here. Needs a few more friends before he can take this. Vikla has teleport, but wants to catch the wave. I think there's a pretty strong window here for DNS to actually secure this and get out with no issues. Kellen's looking for a big angle. I don't think so.
That's kind of has to come down to a steal, but Raptor's not going to hit it. Kellen goes in, but only catches one, really, as now they turn on a Raptor, who's immediately dead, as they're all kind of in the pit here, but Kellen soon to go down, and that's 2 kills here for DNS on top of the Drake that they just got.
Yeah, I'm not sure what BNK thought was going to happen there.
What did they mean by that?
But they really had already decided the fight was a wash. They were like, oh, we win this easily, no matter what. It did not happen that way.
Nice dodge, but they're still going for it. Diablo has to flash, but he's still dead! As Dom gets him from range, and that's a 3rd kill for this Kai'Sa. DNS now gaining a substantial lead in this game.
We do like the drafts for DNS. They don't work out. We don't like them. It's comfort picks. Maybe that's just the way. I think Odin's going to have to make a list of all their favorite champions, their top 3.
Confidence is everything.
It is pretty significant when you have a Dragon Prio setup, though. Look at where BNK are right now. Aurora is clearing the wave, not here in this fight. Raptor is isolated. I get it, he's an Aatrox, but when this engage comes in from Kellen, it's so lackluster. He was flanking. Diablo isn't there with him. He was playing too safe.
All right, trying to take down Closer here. We got 3 people in this one, but Clear also gonna have to flash with the TP coming in. Now BNK kind of behind enemy lines. Clear, no flash, no hop, no health bar. Down he goes. The Gnar is the target, and an easy one. 3,000 gold here for DNS.
Well, BNK are playing just like they play from ahead, from behind. And they're trying to get back into this one as best as they can. I do understand it because trying to just play a slow macro game from here is going to be pretty tricky, but it is just not working out. That should be the Herald going over plus a Gnar. Yoshi picks that one up, and it's this time DNS just getting every objective on the board. And unfortunately, these aggressive setups are just, I mean, they're too far behind. And like, Closer had flash, he had teammates, you know, it is in immobile Syndra. I suppose that's the thought process behind that one is no
Without
way
Ghost.
No way.
Yeah, Pickle in a little bit of trouble. He's going to have to burn that flash to get away, plus the belt. And yeah, so Dusante does not really care.
So Vikla uses his ult to close the gap, gets Closer's flash, but then Pyosik shows up and they're like, uh-oh, and then the TP shows.
We got even more action as once again, Raptor is the punching bag. The Aatrox has a lot of potential in a team fight where he's getting resets, but not when he's getting 1v4'd multiple times in a row. That's the 4th death now for Raptor.
Just getting CC chained. He's potential Darkin in this game. He's got a lot of potential, as you said. They are going to get this plate and probably the whole turret. There's a bit of a race for this turret, the top side turret. And it will go the way of DNS. Just barely. As this is just a better group for DNS on the bottom side. Diablo is 2,000 gold behind, even though this is a high skill ceiling. Ezreal, we talked about it. I don't know, maybe the ceiling is collapsing a little bit in this game around him. Maybe the 4 pillars holding it up are not quite able to perform. He is 0-3 though. And despite some really cool engages and some nice leads built up in the early game by Kellen into Life, looked like Life was kind of not having a great start, but his ultimates when BNK just attempt some crazy plays have been able to get enough defensive stuff done. His roots onto Raptor have been pretty big. And the Syndra is getting large. I didn't really like it that much in the draft, but if he hits every scatter defensively that he needs to buy space for his teammates who are rotating faster because they have more map control, it's working out. It's almost 5,000 gold to lead here.
Yeah. I mean, with a comp like this, if you are going to be, okay, never mind, we are going to engage on top of Duck Dom, who also gets exhausted, and the shutdown goes to Diablo. A very nice setup for BNK. That is about as bad as it can get for DNS. Losing the guy that was ahead, giving the shutdown over to the enemy Ezreal. But yeah, DNS's comp from ahead absolutely can get work done with just Syndra and Kai'Sa, especially with the Kai'Sa getting a lot of the gold, but gotta be careful.
Duck Dom with no flash.
Not die like that.
And he is just burst down. I think it's the W-empowered True Shot Barrage from Diablo that hits him first, and it hits like a truck. And then he is exhausted, as you mentioned. With those summoners, Supercharger not going to be enough to get him out of that one. We'll watch it again, how it all went down. Kellen has flash. Looking for the angle. Despite the Supercharger, he still gets caught by the Magnet Storm. Powered Ezreal ult is enough.
Well, we saw what happened before we went into the replay. He was Mega Gnar. He was fine. He was on Vision. And then we come back, he's a dead Mini Gnar, and Dusante has another kill.
This is the counter pick to Cassante. He is a little bit behind in this game now. And now it's going to be another turret, as DNS will also get the Dragon on the other side. As the Aatrox is kind of farming bottom lane, maybe looking to set a trap, but DNS are on the Dragon, so I don't think they will walk into his waiting arms. Surely not. They're actually going to look to try to collapse. I think they're very aware of this.
Yeah, they have a lot of information, as you can tell. The root comes down. Vikla is dead. Kellen is as well. Only question is who gets the kill. Pyosik says that's mine. Thank you very much.
BNK are trying to take the stance of we will not go quietly into that good night, but does not feel like doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on making these all-ins happen is working out for them. But I think they've kind of conceded this game as Rift Herald is going to help them secure another turret here, the 3rd of the game in the mid lane. Crystalline Overgrowth makes it a shoe-in. And defending this is going to be a challenge that I do not think that BNK should look for.
Very close, actually, to the Rift Herald not getting the kill, but absolutely does. And that'll be a third turret here for DNS. Now, I do feel like this is one of these games where the gold lead potentially is not real, because I still do feel like if you go long enough against Ezreal and Aatrox, you might have some trouble. Of course, it will take some mistakes from DNS, and they absolutely should win the game from here, but it's not necessarily the way things have gone.
That's definitely true, especially because BNK have been trying to look for these punish plays, right? And clear. Oh, okay. That was a little unlucky.
Used everything on the wave.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little, probably should play a little safer than that, but a little bit unlucky. It doesn't look great, but it looked worse when he came in the middle of it. When you're like, okay, yeah. he didn't have weapons to fight with. It's like, okay, well, fair. But I do agree with you, because BNK have been so good at setting up traps and punishing, and they will take every chance they get. So you still have to play pretty safe. This team is good at coordinating really cool combos and burst damage, as we saw in the kill on Duck Dom just moments ago, but the wallets may just be too heavy, as Closer's having a clinical performance on this Syndra this game.
Yeah, he looks very comfortable on this pick, which is something we did talk about at length. Something interesting Diablo did buy the Tunneler, probably head towards Shojin or something like that, but instead sold it, or undid it, and went for the Hex Drinker. So decides he needs a little bit more survivability into the AP damage of not only Closer, but also Duck Dom.
He's not going Endless Hunger, he's going for the double tier build, which it takes so long to get online. They're already so far behind, but I suppose this is just often how you have to think about a game state like this. Like, go Shojin, okay, maybe you can hit that 3-item spike, but are you really going to be able to carry? Maybe you go double tier, this game goes 40 minutes for some reason, and then actually that's the play.
I think that's the angle.
I think that's the angle as well. It hurts to build it right now because you're basically saying, I'm not going to be relevant for a little while here, and we're 7,000 gold behind, which he doesn't know, but he knows they're significantly behind. They're down 7 kills and almost every objective. So just kind of hold on is going to be the game plan here, and maybe they could still get the clean sweep. Doesn't look likely at this point, but I do like his calculation, even though it's not very Diablo of him to sit and wait.
Yeah, I guess
he just walks up, man. He's not afraid of anything.
He does have everything available, so just feels pretty safe at this point. But yeah, I think he's really hunkering down and realizing that this game, if they're going to win it, it's going to go a while, and you got to do what you got to do. And double tier builds, you know, back when they were first able to do that, you know, at some point double tier builds were taken away, and obviously they were added back this year. Ezreal was one of the best at doing double tier builds, so it kind of does make sense that this is one of the options still that he can go for in 2026. And it's great for scaling. All those mana items are going to work well together.
If it was like a 2,000 gold lead, he goes into Hunger, you're like, or Shojin's, you're like, okay, he's saying, I can fix this game right now. I will carry you. Right now, he's saying, I will fix this game later. And, you know, he was stacking this tier. Ezreal stacks tier incredibly quickly, as you're alluding to, which is part of why it's one of the only champs where this double tier build is viable. So we'll see how much time they can buy, because it's 3 dragons to 0, 30 seconds until the Mountain Soul for Cassante, who's massively ahead in this game. And the Ezreal is not really going to hurt him with this build, so they need to somehow buy time by securing the smite. That's going to be on Raptor. He does have flash, and trying to fight their way through this, but it is going to be so hard.
Mega Gnar just procced there in the fight against Closer, who did not use his ult, by the way. So Closer just poking him out, forcing the Mega Gnar at the worst time for BNK, essentially. You can see the BNK trying to get some sort of team fight going, but
DNS are just not even going to give him the flip. They're like, nope, pulling this out, playing it slow. And Closer is on a ward.
Yeah, maybe an opportunity here. Viglo with the dodge, and now Closer has to flash away. But that's just a flash. Might come down to a little bit of a flip now as Pioshik's taking some damage, and DNS kind of ceding the floor to them. It is going to come down to a flip, but Raptor is just not in the pit at all. Gets pulled out by the Cassante, isolated, and not killed, actually, not yet. As now we're just looking at Diablo. Can he solo carry this one? Is going to take down Life and Closer, but he has to go up against Duck Dom, Pioshik, and Dudu alongside of the Mega Gnar. Nice stun comes in from Clear. And the True Shot Barrage is there. Raptor is back as well. And Diablo takes an insane amount of burst damage. Just trying desperately to carry this one. It's not going to happen. As the Mountain Soul is getting work done here for DNS. And Clear is still trying to fight them.
He's trying to buy time here. We'll avoid the Void Seeker at least. Diablo tried his best. Missed a few abilities there, despite his True Shot getting a little bit done. But it's the burst from Duck Dom again. The counter pick of this Kai'Sa was able to get through lane, through some shenanigans that is now starting to get quite large in this game. They did get the shutdown onto Closer. DNS taking a fairly risky Baron here, but there's no TP for Viglo, so I think they will just get away with it. It's actually really not risky at all.
Yeah.
All right.
Objective bounty, though? And Clear is just, I guess, accepting that he's dead. I'm not really sure why he's still here, but he is absolutely dead.
I think he just was like, well, I mean, the best way out is try to get out as fast as possible after taking that turret down. Trying to run away wouldn't have worked out. As this fight is pretty straightforward. Pyosik gets the smite. As Raptor's on the other side of the fight, they take him out first. He doesn't die initially here, but cannot offer anything in the fight. As in live, it looks like nothing too important going to happen. Diablo is unfortunately just against too many people here, and even though Duckdom is low on mana and clear separates them, he eventually has to step forward to do the damage. And then Duckdom gets on the last of that MP.
Oh, little engage here. Big engage here. Vicla's dead. And it's kind of happening on the side of the turret. You can see he was not ready for that. Just trying to check and put down some vision, and does get punished by Life's Nico. And now we got Life behind enemy lines here, behind the turret. Dudu's taking a little bit of damage, but...
Closer has ult, and he's coming up. Diablo needs to be so careful, while also maximizing damage.
Yeah, just gonna try to dive him, I guess. The Unleashed Power does go in to Kellen. And Life does have to go golden. He's taking a lot of damage there on the backside of this fight from the Boomerang and Diablo. The DNS up 11,000 gold with the Baron and the Mountain Soul. Surely they can just close it out here.
And you would think Diablo's just trying to do as much as he can. Aggressive play there. And they still survive. He can, at range, chip away at this cannon minion. And they survive. In my mind, Diablo is like the anime character that always wins in the end. And when you're watching the episode where there's like a bit of strife and you're like, oh, he's back in Swall, he's in the dungeon.
Yeah.
How's he going to get out of this one? In this game, Diablo looks like he is just super chained, but he does enough to help them defend this base. Bit of Magi is picked up, you were pointing out to me, on the Syndra. Zvicla is burst first, and that is the turret to go down, and they cannot quite get the inhibitor in the aftermath.
Now looking for a bit more here in the jungle. But it just looks like DNS are trying to exert some pressure, take all the camps away, really suffocate BNK out of this game. And yes, there is a world where BNK do come back. We've seen crazier things, but it's just not looking very likely at this point in time. Vikla, he's got to play on a knife's edge here, especially after getting hit by the Nico in the last
one. If they survive this Baron and can muster a fight on Elder or an Elder steal, they could still win this game. It is a 12,000 gold lead, and I do think that outcome is unlikely.
Yeah.
But the fact that the base is still up, it speaks volumes to, again, the lack of siege in this composition. It's a similar situation to the KT1. Like, Syndra can kind of siege, she can engage from range, but BNK are just playing this very carefully, not giving them a whole lot of opportunities.
Yeah. It's really the only way to play it, and, you know, it might sound like a lot of cope that we're saying, oh, you know, maybe BNK has a chance when they're this far behind, but again, if you weren't watching last week, you're not in our shoes. And also, you know, DNS, after the first couple of games, I think it makes sense that we don't have a huge amount of confidence in them at the moment, although they have played this game much better and much cleaner. So the goal difference over time graph definitely tells the one story. But in a minute or so, when this Elder Drake spawns, that's where we're going to, you know, read the final chapter. We're going to see the final episode where the protagonist has to face his inner demons.
Yeah, or perhaps he just doesn't win this time, and there's a bit of a, you know, 2-week break. It's like Golden Week or something, and then we come back and it's game 4. I think this setup for Baron is really tricky for DNS because Life is their primary like AoE zoning tool. Otherwise, you really have to just try to poke with Syndra and look for that prio target because Diablo is so safe on this Ezreal. And we trust him and his ability to hit these skill shots in a longer fight on setup. They're actually just going to push Closer.
Closer does have enough vision.
But he is going to struggle to enter now, and they have a Cassante in mid, so it's not like they can push towards the inhibitor.
Flank is coming out here. Pyosik's got an angle.
Life on the angle as well.
Yeah, they want to try to turn onto this one. And we'll see if they can get Life on the Nico, who is going to ult, just gets blasted away from as Kellen has to go in, and Life is just already out of the fight. Pyosik also behind enemy lines, trying to do something. Duckdom might be able to take out the Rel, but there's the GA. And this is actually looking like a pretty close fight at this point, as now the Sun is going to come down here from Dudu. Tons of damage comes out from Closer, looking for more stacks, but BNK are kiting it out. The Elder is alive. As the Sun comes through, Diablo's going to get caught, and that might be the end of this one. As they took down the protagonist, we'll have to wait until next week's episode to see if he can do it next time, because DNS, they got the one man who could stop them.
Oh, that stun onto Diablo just ends the game. Down he falls. No more protagonist. And that is the end of this one. It seemed like maybe there was still some fight here in BNK. Kellen zoned away, doesn't have ult, even though he has flash. Wait a minute.
Hey, you can see they're just trying to end the game. They don't want to go for the Baron or the Elder. Clear only stuns the Lee Sin, and that's not going to be good enough, as we have backdoor protection on this turret, and they're just tanking it up and trying to end this one. And I think they should be able to, as Raptor just not able to get anything going on this Aatrox in game number 3, and DNS will force a game number 4.
Do they ever kill Diablo? It's that rogue stun that actually catches him, and then they end up blowing him up. I think given some time, the game definitely doesn't end. Who knows what happens in the longer fight? Maybe they still lose it, they still lose Elder, but the game doesn't end there. Diablo tried his best. In this game, the Kai'Sa counter pick worked. Closer Syndra played well. The comfort draft is enough.
나 꺼내줘야 돼 여기.
이거 니코 봐줘, 니코 봐줘, 얘들아.
나와.
나 가는 중.
봐줘.
야, 보던가. 이제 보자.
이제 봐줘.
이제 높여.
빼면서 해봐.
레볼게. 이제
날아가게 애매.
앞에부터 돼요. 오른쪽으로 빠질래 정현아?
레이더 천천히, 레이더 천천히.
왔어.
나 방어만?
방어 몇 초?
방어 있어.
방어 있으면 빠질 수 있어.
앞에 나를. 오케이. 나 날라갈게.
나를 높을.
야 이거 장르로 불러.
오케이. 아, 와이만 거 맞을게. 빼는 거. 야, 이거
이제 봐줘.
야, 쭉 가자.
나이스. 끝까지 가자.
가자.
내 농구야 참격해줘.